Hey everyone, Tactics here, giving you guys my simple, easy to execute Mythic Plus routes for all 10 dungeons for the beginning of Shadowlands Season 3, featuring the brand new Encrypted Seasonal Affix. This will also include, of course, the two new Tazavesh dungeons adding into the pool for this season. So this is going to be similar to kind of what I did back in Season 2 with the Tormented Affix. These routes are going to be very general, very flexible, so you can kind of add together or separate pulls as you see fit. Very good for pug groups, good for any set of affixes, and whether you're doing things like a +10, just seeing the affix for the first time, or going all the way up to +20 for your portals, these routes are meant to be usable in all those situations. For those interested, I'll be putting out advanced routes for all 10 dungeons, as well as high key Mythic Plus commentary videos from my perspective as a Guardian Druid. So if that interests you, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel to be notified when those videos get posted. And let's first start off with explaining what the hell Encrypted even is. So basically, throughout the dungeon, you're going to see these 3 relics on certain trash packs, as well as on every single boss. Now, this is not random. You always get these 3 relics. They don't come separate, individual. And on the PTR, their position did seem to be set, so they didn't rotate like the Tormented Affix did, where like the bosses would change position, always on the same packs. But again, this is subject to change, of course. We're not sure how it's going to be on live, but at least for now, it looks like you're always going to be having these encrypted mobs on the exact same packs every single week. So 3 different relics, what do they do? So they each have an aura, as you can see here, that they'll apply to either their allies nearby or due to the players. So the Vi relic here just has a 15% haste increase. The Woe relic is a 25% move speed increase, and the relic is just pulsing damage on the party. Now, the thing is, though, these relics have almost no HP, so I'm on a +10 right now. This Warlord in the center here is at 550k, and all these relics are at 61k, so these things will melt. The smaller mob, 305k. These relics have no HP whatsoever. They will just die. So these auras are really a non-issue, but the real thing you need to worry about with this affix is which relic you kill first. Each relic has a mini-boss associated with it, and the one that spawns is based on which relic you killed first. The one you kill second, the one you kill last, does not matter. The only thing that matters is the one you kill first. So you kill the Vi relic first, it spawns the Vi ad. The relic spawns the ad. The Woe relic spawns the Woe ad. Now, why this matters is because each of these mini-bosses, when killed, will give your entire party a buff. So the Vi relic, when it's killed, it spawns the Vi ad, and it gives you a 45-second long 15% haste buff, as well as some additional damage and healing on your abilities. The ad over here, it will give you a 10-second buff, and this is 200% increased spell and ability cooldown reduction, as well as 10% health and mana per second. Finally, the Woe ad over here is a 1-minute long buff, so the longest of the 3, and that's a 150% move speed buff, 15% damage reduction, as well as stealthing you out of combat. So you've got a few different potentially useful buffs here, all with some varying durations to choose from. However, the one thing to note is that not all of these mini-bosses are created equal. One in particular is actually a bit of a pain, and that is the Vi Interceptor ad. So this is a ad with basically just has a big gun. It shoots random players, so you get extra random damage in your pack, and it will jump away out of the pack and then do a big line attack that everyone needs to dodge. In general, it's a bit of a pain. It's definitely, I think, the hardest of the 3 ads to deal with, and I think in a lot of situations, well, the Vi relic may be the strongest buff for your group in any given situation. Dealing with the mob is definitely makes packs a little bit scarier, maybe more than it needs to be, especially in pug groups, and so you may actually opt to kill one of the other relics that's much easier to handle. So the relic just kind of spawns a tank ad. He just does a tank buster and a little frontal circle on top of the tank. Much easier to dodge than the Vi Interceptor line attack. And also that CDR, it has big value, right? Offensively, it can be better than that Vi haste buff, even though it's 10-second duration versus like a 45-second duration. So it just kind of depends on your comp. And also the defensive value it brings is more like the Vi relic is almost no defensive value, right? It's haste, so maybe your healer can heal a little bit more. But honestly, in terms of defensive value, the Relic is very, very strong. You get CDR on all your defensive abilities. You get CDR on all your offensive abilities as well, which can lead you to get maybe better timings depending on the pack. Right, whether it's a long 2-minute CD, a short like 20 to 30 second CD, or something in between. You're getting CDR on all those abilities, and you're just going to be able to use your cooldowns way more often and have way more uses throughout the course of a dungeon. Personally, I think this is going to be the default recommended kill first relic, especially in pug groups, as more CDs is just always good. It's always fun. I do want to note it was bugged for a long time on the PTR, where it was giving way more CDR on Covenant specific abilities than it was to other abilities. That's been fixed, so the Covenant CDR has been brought way down, so you're not going to get those insane things where you saw people like convoking like 4 times in 10 seconds. That's not happening anymore at all. So it's still strong, it's just not going to be that absurd. And I think it's going to be the go-to kill in pretty much all pug groups. The Woe Relic, it's probably the easiest to kill. It's literally just like a kick you have to do, maybe like once every like 6 to 10 seconds. It's a pretty long CD kick, and with their health, you're not really gonna have to kick it too many times, maybe like twice before it dies. The buff is much more niche though, right? The DR, it's fine, right? But you're doing, in keys between 10 and 20, you don't need the DR at all. The move speed, it makes you zoom, that is for sure. It makes you go very quickly. But the skipping is not something you're going to do a ton in pugs unless they're placed very well. And even then, you can always just commit invis pots or just have a rogue in your group, right? So super niche. I don't really recommend using this in pug groups, but if you're in a coordinated group that doesn't have a rogue, maybe then you can start to get a lot of value from the Woe Relic. But I'm not really going to cover that in this video because it's not really relevant to what I'm doing here. Simple, easy to execute. I'm not going to talk about that. Okay, so we know what Encrypted is now. Hopefully, at least have a better idea. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer. But let's start with the route. So again, this is in MDT, Mythic Dungeon Tools. It is updated for Encrypted. I'll post these links to all these routes down in the description below if you want them for yourself. We're just going to start in alphabetical order here. So we have the other side. Starting off here, pretty simple route. You're going to get an encrypted mob in all of these outer packs here. As you can see, they're all in here. So just doing this first pull. I'm going to recommend going Hakar first. You don't need to do any ring shenanigans anymore because the tormented mobs are gone. And so you can eliminate a decent amount of travel time by just kind of W keying around this ring. So we go here, we go in Hakar wing. I'm not skipping. Again, in theory, you could use a Woe Relic here and skip all this to the end if you're lacking a rogue. I'm not going to recommend this. I'm just going to say W key this place because, again, pug groups and using the Woe Relic, pretty weird. Baseline, just kill that Relic. Much easier to deal with anything else. Gives you that CDR buff. You can use way more abilities. It's fun. Use the Relic. W key this place. This guy pats around, so you'll need to wait until he gets into a decent pat. You don't want to pull him with this group by accident, so just wait until he's in a decent spot. Add him to this pack. Cleave him down. This pack here I separated a little bit. You can use the urn as well if you have a Night Fae here, and then you have this 4-pack here before Hakar. Definitely recommend lusting Hakar for sure, and depending on key level and week, so if it's like a fortified week, you may be able to lust this first pull as well, just to get it on CD and still have it a minute into Hakar or something like that, because you are clearing the entire Hakar hallway here. But that's going to be up to your discretion. If it's a tyrannical week, you may not want to risk it. So you come out of the Hakar wing after that, and you're moving down towards Mechagon, of course. You can separate these raptors and the bone soldiers rather, from these two warlords if you feel like it's a little dangerous. And you also have the urn up here to interrupt that enraged spirit. Then you just move into Mechagon. Defunct dental drill here. I'm just pulling it. But if you trust your pug group, you can actually wait for it to be on either side of the pat here. And if it's on the left side here, you can squeeze in and go in here and skip it. Or if it's on the right side, you can squeeze in around here and you can skip it. Pretty useful if you actually trust your group to do that. But otherwise, you can just kill it. And where you would make up all this percent from not killing that and from not killing the stuff in the middle here would be in Ardenwell. There's a bunch more stuff you could be pulling in this wing, so I'll go over that later. But you could skip both this and that stuff in the Hakar wing if you trust your group to do those smaller skips. We're just W keying through this place. Again, add these pulls together as you see fit. If you trust your group to get all the interrupts here with suns and stuff, you could pull 2 lubricators at a time. You could pull this lubricator into this 3-pack. I'll leave that up to you guys. I have them separate here, but again, you could combine them. You've got Millhouse and the Mana Storms. You can lust here pretty much whenever you get Bloodlust back. I assume it's going to be around the Mana Storms, but it may actually end up being over here in this pack. And if that's the case, you can just use it over there. This Spirit's going to be a little scary because it's no urn, so make sure you commit defensives. And we're going into the last wing in Ardenweld. And like I said, there is a bunch more that you could be pulling here if you skipped some things previously. So you have all this stuff up here you could pull. You have this 3-pack down here, very easy to pull. This 3-pack over here, very easy to pull. These 5 hatchlings, easy to pull. These 2 blade beaks are also possible to pull without the matriarch. I didn't include them because I don't really trust most pug groups to pull these without the matriarch. So if you're able to pull that, those are 2 things as well that can be added, but you're pretty much avoiding just matriarchs, and you can pull anything else really in here. Also the dragon, don't pull the dragon. And again, these pulls, I've made them honestly on the smaller end for Ardenweld pulls. So if you're in like a 20, you can definitely amp this up and pull bigger things, pull more together, probably reduce the number of pulls in this area by 1 to 2. This green pull is the urn pull over here. And then you're just kind of, again, sneaking around the side here, avoiding this matriarch, running down, going straight to the boss, and then you're done. You're over at Muzela. But again, there's a lot of variation you can do with this route, especially if you're pushing higher key levels, especially if you're in a coordinated group. Well, this is a pretty good option for pugging, and again, it will work in a pug 20 even. So just fine for that kind of stuff. Options if you want them. Moving on to Halls of Atonement, we have this pull right off the top. Same deal here in a coordinated group. You could do this lust pull and probably make it bigger off the top. You might be able to add like this Houndmaster too. Up to you, but this is going to be pretty fine for a pug group. Just go right here off the top. Avoiding all these little guys now. So because of the encrypted mob positions in this dungeon now, the routing is actually going to be a little bit different here. So you're going to avoid all these little guys. And honestly, I'm sure tanks are going to be happy about this because these guys did kind of slap your tank pretty hard. So we're just going right here. You have these Stoneborns. I'd recommend trying to save these Stoneborns for the shard pull if you have a Venthyr, of course. If not, just stay away from them. So we do this pull kind of wait for that shard pull here. You got encrypted mobs in it as well, and then you can go across. Order here doesn't really matter, so you can do this pull before the shard, you can do it after the shard, up to you entirely. I just have it before the shard, a little bit of regen, right? You just did the shard pack, so maybe you want a little bit of time before you go into another one. Jump into the other shard pack. Then you go down the stairs here. This guy will pat into you, and you've just got these 5 guys. And we're actually skipping this Houndmaster. So how do we skip this Houndmaster? It's actually quite easy. Literally any humanoid CC will work, and things like entangling roots work as well. So when the guy is at the end of his pat or near the end of his pat, like in this area, you can entangling roots, you can blind, sap. Actually, sap's a little risky. It's too close. You can polymorph, you can hex. You can paralyze. So all those kinds of CCs will work on this guy when he's over on this edge, and you can just walk around over here, jump over the fence even, pull the Stoneborn with you, and pull all this shard stuff with the encrypted adds there, and just make sure you maintain that CC on the guy in the corner so that you can just walk right out again. It's honestly very, very easy to do, and it's like half the classes in the game. Imprison also didn't mention that works as well. Half the classes in the game can do that CC, so ideally you just have one of those classes in your group. Moving up here, you just then pull this 5-pack in the middle, and then you can pull this 2-pack over here with an encrypted mob and bring that encrypted buff into the boss. Very, very helpful. And then you'll just be able to chain those encrypted buffs because of course the boss spawns one as well, and that's going to be really nice. And like I mentioned, I think in one of my Tazavesh videos, chaining encrypted mobs into bosses is probably going to be the play on higher keys, and this is just a really, really free one that's easy to execute that you can do on your any keys, right? So that's going to be nice there. After the boss, you're going to see this pull up here. And again, you're just pulling up here, getting this Stoneborn onto this 2-pack here that comes with 3 encrypted mobs, nuking it down, get another encrypted buff, whatever you want it to be, and then you're just either skipping. You could woe this, but really, if you're woeing this, there's no real point in doing this pull, right? But you just kind of bring this buff, and the potential, like this is the potential for like you kill the haste buff. You get a 45-second buff, and then you shroud and do the boss. And so you have like 30 seconds of haste buff still going into this boss. But again, that's more of a high key thing. For this, you can just use it, take advantage of that extra speed you get from getting this, getting these relics, slamming it down here, and then moving to the boss up here. Again, this skip, but this is a super common skip. I'm gonna leave it in here because pretty much everyone does the skip. You know, occasionally people W key through this area, but there's just so much nicer trash to kill over here that you might as well just take advantage of the skip, and it's really, really not hard to do. Just kind of W key. Same deal here, just 1 pack at a time. Each of them has an encrypted mob, so you can again technically pull this encrypted mob up into this boss, do the boss. No mini boss skip here, just killing them, and then moving into Lord Chamberlain at the end. So there's Halls of Atonement. Now, Mists of Tirna Scithe. Not really much to talk about for this dungeon, honestly. I mention it every single time. I can't tell you what maze you're going to get. As much as you say, please give me a definitive mist route, I can't. I literally cannot. This maze is random. So this is just a general thing that this is one potential maze option you can get. You end at about 71%. And that leaves you pretty safe to kind of just W key through the ending here. 71.2 is the actual threshold for you to just W key, skipping the flyers. If you're a little bit lower than that, you know, you're like 65, you'll probably have to pull 1 pack. That's after you get to the boss. Just pull the 1 pack on the other side. If you're higher than that, you probably did some maze shenanigans, and you could technically skip one of these packs leading up to the boss. Either way, though, this is a pretty... You can probably get this pretty consistently at around 70-ish%, so you won't need to alter this route too much at all. But again, you have to play this dungeon on the fly, depending on what your maze percent is, and you can use things, of course, like Shadow Grasp Totem, like pets, to kind of make this more consistent, to pull things through walls and such. But that's going to be a little bit more advanced. I'll talk about that in the advanced route, not so much now. But you're pretty much just W-king this dungeon. You got Spike Claws. You can group them into this villager pack if you want. They do kind of debuff other mobs now. They've been changed going into this season, so not a bad double pull option with Bloodlust there, especially on fortified weeks, but usually you want to save Lust for this first boss here. And the actual thing with this boss is ideally you kind of kill the relics, but you don't kill the mini boss quite yet until you're able to kind of amp that damage. Depends on your strat though, right? If you're using a CDR strat, maybe you pop your CDR or your abilities on pull, and the CDR, depending on this cooldown, is able to get you those big damaging abilities back up for the damage amp phase. So it's going to depend on your group comp there. So the 2 strategies for that boss are that. But otherwise, there's not really much to talk about. You go through the maze. There's no encrypted mobs in the maze. You're the boss. You jump down. You go left the whole way. You can CC these flyers. These are beasts, but again, a bunch of CCs still work. Blind, Hibernate from Druids now. Polymorph. I'm pretty sure Imprison still works. So again, like half the classes in the game can CC those Reavers. They're really, really annoying. They're not the end of the world if you pull them, but they're just really annoying. So I recommend not pulling them and just CCing them out here and just W keying through this place. And again, I would recommend doing this pack if you need it before the boss, just so you can chain the encrypted mobs into it. But otherwise, you most likely will just need to W key through here. Maybe 1 extra pack. That's a miss for you. Plaguefall. So again, I am not doing this intro skip. This is a pretty good candidate for a Bloodlust here, just double pulling here. You can do this individually if you don't want to commit Lust here or something, because there are 2 Fungal Stormers if you're doing this together. Port and stop there, get that storm stopped, and you're just going through encrypted mob. Don't pull these. One of them is definitely bound to like something you don't want. Pulling the nests, or yeah, don't do that. It is not worth it. Slimes could be separated if you wanted. Could have some into this Belcher, or the boss even if you want Funnel. Otherwise, you just pull them. Bursting though, be careful. Yeah, bursting, this will just kill you, so you'll need to separate them, but otherwise you can just pull them all at once. You got the boss there. We're going left side here. We are missing an encrypted set, but it's not the end of the world. Plaguefall timer is pretty free, assuming you play safe and don't die to things. So we're just going to go left here. You get one encrypted set here. You get this purple blob with the green blobs and the plague binder here. Pack on the stairs. Doing the gauntlet. You can have someone drag these 3 up to get hit by the plague borers if you are feeling frisky about it, but otherwise just pull these individually. No need to run up these stairs. There's no tormented mob anymore. Just go straight into the boss. Then we go down here after the boss. You can just tag these 2 mobs here, pull them on top, cleave that encrypted mob down with the tentacle and stuff. Middle island's the same. Going down here, you can pull this mob with like a 40-yard range attack without getting even remotely near this tentacle. So you can kind of combine these 2 pulls, and that gives you that extra % that you do need in this route. And then we just jump down. You get the Stealth Ambusher with encrypted mobs. Bring it over on top of that big tentacle, which is the target there. Kill that big tentacle. And then just this packs as normal. Half the platform encrypted mob, half the platform encrypted mob, boss. And we're going down here, and we're just killing all this stuff. Again, 1 set of encrypted mobs. Not using the slime buffs really at all in this route. You can use them a little bit more if you have a Necrolord, especially if you have a more coordinated group. Bring these slime buffs and bringing these slime buffs and bringing this slime buff to the various bosses is really helpful. It is a bit more damage intake. It is a bit more, you have to more think about how you route and you're routing a little bit more, but it can be useful. But again, that's more of an advanced route thing, so I will talk about that there. In this route, we're just kind of W keying. You don't need to worry about those slime buffs on 10 to 20 keys. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be the end of the world. So that's Plaguefall. We move into Sanguine Depths. This is another dungeon kind of like the other side, where there's quite a few little skips you could do if you believe in your group kind of deal. So this is just a double pull. You can triple pull this if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, just double pull this onto the urn. You've got these guys, and then the 2-pack here. This 2-pack could be skipped. So you could do something like not doing this 2-pack at all. And then you just go in and you skip and you do this pack here, right? So it'll also involve dropping a pack later on in the dungeon, which I'll mention, but this can be pretty nice value because it adds another encrypted relic. It lets you avoid doing this kind of lame 2-pack, and it lets you avoid doing a pretty dangerous pull later on in the dungeon as well. So if you can do this, pretty good value, small skip there. Otherwise, just do this 2-pack, you wait for this guy to pat around in a circle, and then you go in here, encrypted pack here, got the boss. Pull these guys here. You can LOS them out as well if you don't feel comfortable, or even just LOS them in here and just AoE them down, stuns, that kind of good stuff. Chamber Sentinel could be added to this pack if you feel comfortable, could be added to this pack if you feel comfortable, completely up to you. We normally add it to this pack, but again, you don't need to. You can kill them solo if you're not comfortable. 3-pack, just chaining 3-packs. Recommend probably killing this pack on the urn here, and then dragging this pack back to the urn, getting your 6-stack there, maybe using some toys to get a 10-stack, and moving into the mini boss. And then you're just only going left here to kind of get these encrypted mobs, and that fills out your % as well. And then you're going back right. So really, you don't really pull the pat here. You could pull the pat here if you wanted to skip some more stuff in this area. You could pull way more of this ring depending on how much you're skipping. But otherwise, if you're not planning to skip very much, just in a pug group, pug 15, weekly 15, you can just pull this 3, these 3. Watch this Chamber Sentinel, right? It may spawn, because it could be anywhere from like here to here. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It's kind of luck of the draw, and it is what it is. And you move along the right side until you get to the boss. You can get your urn stacked up over here and bring that into the boss with maybe these 6 mobs, so another 6-stack kind of urn into the boss here. You got a Bloodlust for sure on this boss, by the way. Probably all the bosses in this dungeon you're Bloodlusting, just first, second, and last. And then you're moving downstairs, pulling all this stuff. Again, technically, certain affix, you could pull this into the boss. Not doing that here. You pull in this 5-pack. This 3-pack here, big skip candidate. This is the one I was talking about that you could skip later on in the dungeon as well. But again, if you're not going to skip, it's not the end of the world. You can still kill this pack. I would recommend hard focusing the Overseer first. I believe he does have the lowest HP. Yeah, he has the lowest HP, and he's kind of annoying with the slows in the cast. So yeah, focus that Overseer, kill him first, and then get the Sentinel down. And then you're just pulling the Gauntlet, right? So you pull the Gauntlet as quickly or slowly as you need to here. I've just grouped things together. Urns here, so get the buff from these guys and these guys LOSing into the area. And you're just walking through the Gauntlet as fast as you can. 3-pack can get pulled on top of Call here as well. Killing his stuff. Last boss, pretty simple at the end. Just a straight line. Spires of Ascension. So I have this big pull off the top here. Bloodlust committed to it. Again, you don't need to do this. You could actually pull these guys back if you want to avoid this Goliath. Maybe pull the Goliath up there instead. Up to you entirely. Moving through here. More encrypted mobs, boss. We go left first here. You can LOS over in the corner here, on the stairs here, at the bottom of the stairs. 3 different places you could do that to kind of group these mobs up. Just be aware they will disengage away, and that's a pain in the ass. You'd have everyone LOS again to group them up, and that's kind of why a lot of people you see do it over here. They'll LOS them up here, and then point their backs at the wall, and it'll be fine. Moving along. This pull, you can kind of do the Praetor later on if you're worried about tank damage. It's a pretty heavy tank damage pull. Moving along, encrypted mob here, moving into the double Goliath pull, just kind of W keying, W keying, W keying. This can be combined with the Kyrian Spear if you so choose. And then we just hug the right here and walk past these guys. You do need to wait. If they're padding this way, I guess I can draw. If they're padding this way, you need to wait until they're like around here. Because if it's this little corner right there is the problem, right? If you pass that corner when they're actually like in the position they're in on the screen, you will pull the mobs. You need to wait until they're either, you need to wait until they're down here pretty much. And then run up, and just mount speed and jumping is enough. You don't need anything else. You can just be mounted and jump, and you're good to skip without needing the angel there. 5-pack here. You can CC, I believe a lot of people CC the Inquisitor here and just kill the squad leader. When the squad leader is dead, then they pull the Inquisitor in, makes it a little easier to deal with. Boss, and then we're just going around here, right side, LOSing these guys around the pillar. Boss, these guys extra, and we go up, angels. Nothing really crazy to talk about there. Pretty simple Spires route. Necrotic Wake. Again, not much has really changed with this route. The encrypted mobs, you're never gonna pull a gatekeeper. It doesn't matter if there's encrypted mobs on them. There's no shot. There's no shot you do that. So normal 3-pack here, and then going along the right side, you got a spear over here, picking up all deal with this pack with the encrypted mobs, and then you can go get your Kyrian orbs and pull this boss. And again, just kind of pull these guys in as you see fit. There's 3 patchworks, a 5-pack of blight bags, and a 2-pack of blight bags, just as you want to. Bring them in. They'll die pretty quickly if the Kyrian orbs are up. So honestly, like, we just pull everything at once. Not a big deal there for us. And then you move along here on the side. This pack again has the encrypted mobs going through here. And you have this pack here. You can pull these blight bags in now or later with this pack and the Kyrian orbs, because you're going to grab the Kyrian orbs after this pack. Now, I am skipping this 3-pack, and this 3-pack can usually just be skipped pretty easily. Same deal to humanoid, so any kind of humanoid affecting CC, like half the classes in the game can do it, is good. And there are only really a couple spots in the pat where you can't do the skip and you need to wait. So if they're over here in the corner, fine. It's when they're directly in front of this pack and when they're directly in the middle of the pat line here. Those are the 2 spots where you can't skip and you need to wait. But otherwise, like if they're here, any way along the side, any way over here in this corner, that's perfectly fine. CC the front guy and then move around them with your Kyrian orbs, of course, and just do this pack with your Kyrian orbs. Try and stack them all up, and just it'll kill them very, very quickly. Just watch your feet with those swirlies. 2-pack of Marauders, put the damage in the shields, not into their actual health. Their health doesn't matter. They'll die when the shields go off. And then you got this pack here. Pretty normal, pretty normal. This pack now is an encrypted mob. This pack now is an encrypted mob. Be very careful with the Frostbolt cast and this pad as well. And then you're just going into the boss. Up here in the Necropolis, it's kind of, again, as you see fit. Your pulling cadence, it's going to be different for every single tank. Personally, I always kind of pull these parts right off the top. As people are getting up here, we'll kill the parts. And then you can kind of see what you're doing, right? Like, you can add pulls together and separate pulls as you see fit here. You don't want to pull these together. Maybe you're a little late and this pack is like all the way over here already. Kind of dangerous to pull those together. You could do like these two together, or you could just do this pull alone, right? Like, you could pull this guy with this guy. You could pull this guy with this guy. It's completely free form kind of in this area. This is just kind of what I have initially. So pulling these guys first, then pulling these groups together. Then I believe pulling this pack. And then I believe it's, yeah, this pack in the corner, this pack in the corner, and then that's it for the trash, because all the mini bosses, none of them have encrypted. And then you have the boss into boss on the top there. But again, you can pull this kind of as together or apart as you want, depending on your group, your key level, that kind of thing, right? This is just a base suggestion. Moving on, Theater of Pain. Okay, almost done here. These are the 8th dungeon, the last regular old dungeon you guys have seen before. So again, pretty normal here. 4-pack, boss, jumping down. I go Necromancer Wing first. I think it makes Bloodlust line up a little bit better. So you get these guys. Go right and then right both times for the 2-pack, and then just the Bone Reaver and 2 Maguses. You could go left as well. It's not going to make a big difference either way. They both have encrypted mobs. This is a 2-target cleave basically, and these 2 guys die very quickly, so it ends up being mostly single target. Really depends on your group comp, which is better. Also, these guys have the tornadoes, which basically insta-kill all pugs as soon as they cast, so I tend to avoid them as much as possible. We go up here, 3-pack, and then into the boss. Hopefully you have Bloodlust again, and then you go Zav's Wing. Just whatever mini boss order you get here. I get possibility of pulling these 3 into the mini boss, or maybe even pulling these 2 mini bosses together, depending on which 2 mini bosses they are. If you're able to skip this pack here, then I recommend skipping that and instead pulling these 4 Bone Maguses on this pack, on this platform that you would have skipped. So just keep that in mind. That pack can be a little bit annoying. So if you're able to skip it, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. And you're just going through Zav's Wing. You might get lust late on Zav or mid Zav. So you can choose to lust Zav, or you can lust over here. Again, this pull can be combined if you so choose. Decent lust target there. And then you're just going through, you're skipping these gas bags. Remember, you just go when they're padding away from you. You just run in, and you can squeeze in there without needing any kind of invis or anything like that. And we're going down, W keying right through here to Gore Chop. Up, all the way up, last boss. Now we get to Tazavesh. And now these trash bags, they might be a little, like, you may have no idea what these trash mobs are doing. Luckily for you, I have in-depth Tazavesh guides already uploaded on my channel for both Streets of Wonder and Soleil's Gambit. I talk about literally everything you need to know, rather. So interrupts, stops, purges, dispels, boss abilities, and I explain this route much more in depth, so I'm going to be pretty quick here. But if you want those videos, I'll link them down in the description as well, or you can find them on my channel. Super useful if you're just getting into these dungeons, or you're not super familiar with them. So hopefully that helps you guys out. I'm going to be pretty quick here though. Mini boss pull these guys together with the encrypted mobs, and then you can kind of chain them to these 2 3-packs using this corner here as LOS to pull them in. Then you've got this guy, and you can go either into the mini boss there, or you can do this pack first and bring that into the mini boss. Either way, you can get an encrypted mob with the mini boss. It's not the boss himself, right? Who will spawn after you kill the mini boss, but it's decent enough. Good skip candidate here if you're able to. Never go left. Actually, never do that. Go right always. Stealth mobs, so be careful. They're on the path. Watch, this will pat up and over here, so don't double pull unless you've done something like skipped this. Then this is a decent double pull candidate down here, or you can double pull these 2 and pull this solo. Either way it works. And then you're going into the little gauntlet thing here. Nothing really relevant. Got the boss, and then you're going straight to the post office. You can pull these as together or separate as you so choose. I think it's going to be really interesting. You might see these triple pulled together. So that'll be cool. But again, that's more an advanced route thing. Boss here, not terrible lust candidate, not great either. We'll see. On Tyrannical is probably a good lust candidate though. Moving across the center here, and these are all in very close proximity, and there's also knockbacks. So again, definitely recommend watching that ability guide I have. But you can kind of pull these together here, and put your back to a wall. Pull this back to a wall. Pull these together, back to a wall. Pull these with the encrypted mob into the boss here. There is some RP on this boss, so you'll have to wait anyways. Get the encrypted buff for that, and then you're done with trash. There's also a mini boss here that I did not say you're pulling, but you can pull this either at some point during all this trash pulling, or you can pull it after you've done this boss. Completely up to you. I actually recommend pulling it before you end up finishing, so once you're done this orange pull, then doing this guy, just because you have all the space then to deal with him, and then you can just go boss into boss. Depends on your cooldown timings though, of course. So that's Streets of Wonder. Moving into Solea's Gambit. Murlocs here. Again, these guys run super fast when they're dead. Or near dead, sorry. They will just run away. It's annoying. Their abilities, I'll explain that in the other video, so I'm not going to go in depth here. Basically, pull this pack right off the top. These two packs will just both pad on top of you, so you can pull them at that point. Decent Lust candidate on Fortified, maybe not so much on Tyrannical because you get to the boss so quickly. Same deal, you run around here to pull this pack. You do not run through here because of that fearing I talked about. So they will run in fear, and these packs are just so close to each other. They're in such close proximity to each other. You will just chain pull everything, and it's bad. So we go over here, avoid all that chain pulling nonsense. Jump across the water again, another giant pull. You can pull these two packs in any order you choose, and then I recommend skipping this for sure. These mobs are super annoying. Definitely worth the skip. And if you're assuming you're able to kill this boss, right? Because if you wipe to this boss, you're then kind of stuck behind them. But if you're able to kill this boss, you get a portal to the next area, so you're not in any danger whatsoever of having to re-pull them ever if you die. So recommend skipping for sure. Boss. Here you can double pull this stuff up here. These guys just do a little tank hit is really what you're worried about. So tanks, be aware if you're pulling 4 of these in one pack, and can get a little scary. But just make sure you have something for that. Running down here. This pack on the edge is available. This pack on this edge is available. This pack is not available right away. That there's boss RP and they're just not hittable. So you can kill these in whatever order you want, whichever one of these first, second, and then last over here into the boss. This guy, you can just walk around the edge here and skip. And then you can pull these packs separately. Just watch, this 5-pack does pad around in a big U here. Just a big U. So I'd pull these packs individually, individually. And then this 2-pack, super scary. Hard focus down one of the Starseers at a time, just because it'll eliminate a ton of damage from the pack as soon as you kill one. So kill one of these ASAP, then worry about the other one, and then you have the last boss there. So there we have it. Encrypted routes for the start of Season 3 for all 10 Mythic Plus dungeons. If any questions at all, again, regarding these routes, potential variations, drop a comment down below, or you can come stop by my Twitch channel at Tactics, and I'll do my best to answer. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be notified when things like my advanced routes or like my high key commentary videos get posted. And check out the Tazavesh videos if those are interesting to you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.